Hey guys, Jay here, and in the video today, well, I want to showcase this build in probably the final form. So it is the Trigger Axe build, right? And it would not be a completed saga for any character of mine if I do not bring them to Simulacrum some way somehow. So I would just want to try this character out in Simulacrum. I think if I'm unlucky with the mods, I might die like once or twice even. But, you know, mostly I should be able to survive here. Because the Simulacrum mods are not really like way too rippy in terms of just defensively. Right? So let's just get a full run here. Let's just wave one. We can, by the way, I think we can just speed clearing it like this. Or if you want to, you can just stand in one place. Like, it's not like you're going to face tank everything that the Simulacrum is going to throw at you. But obviously you should move around, as this is not as tanky of a character as like the Casper stun character. But the overall like speed should be faster. Like I would try to be as quick as possible here. And after we finish the Simulacrum, I will go ahead and show you the current setup. It is just a little bit different from the previous video. And by the way, I am now using Legendary Death of Chain Reaction instead of Volatile Death. Now, for mapping, normally I think Volatile Death is just going to be better. But in fact, when I test out like extensively for single target damage, then Volatile Death is just edging out a little bit better. The AoE is fine. It's not like the best. The AoE, there's no way it's going to be competing with the Volatile Death, where you have the balls just move around and kills everything like a kind of like a heat-seeking missile, right? But the AoE of DD is pretty good. I am having the MTX for DD here, and so it looks way less, bad on the eye, I guess. The DD MTX here just help a lot with overall performance if you have like a relatively bad build. My computer is, somewhere just enough. Heavy belt obviously is not going to be something nice. Well, it would be funny if in this particular Simulacrum, it is my first Simulacrum in a while, but it would be funny if in this Simulacrum I would drop like a one passive voices. So I have been farming hundreds of Simulacrum with the AFK character. See, the bosses dies pretty quickly, because after all, this build compared to a Casper stun build, right? This has way more damage and way more consistency of triggering skills as well, because we are being actually offensive. In Casper and Stun, we need to wait for the enemies to attack in order to trigger the spell to basically counter attacking. But here we actually are the one who, just go ahead and take the initiative. Deals damage, kill them before they can kill me, basically. Not the squishiest character, but also not tankiest. If I just stand still in one place, I can survive up until like wave 10-ish, I think. That is just like a rough estimation. Ooh, one passive. Ah, fuck. Never mind. I think, right, I can just stand still here and basically AFK as well. Right, hands off keyboard. The rage vortex will keep going for almost an infinite amount of time because you always have monsters nearby. But it is, I would recommend to move around a little bit. Poses appear and disappear very quickly as we are not in a very high wave, right? Eventually your rage will run out because your rage loss just ramp up and become just an instant from max to 0, so we cannot really sustain rage infinitely. Okay, let me just dump the... Ooh, oh, I do have a full incubator. Shit. Okay. Dumping time is actually part of Simulacrum. Right. I'll keep this one here. Normally, I like to use my currency incubator first and everything else later. So I will always try to keep the currency incubators on me if I run Simulacrum, because in Simulacrum you fill up the incubators very, very quickly. This is not like a Simulacrum farming character, but it can do it. I just wanted to kind of show it, right? I will try to clear faster, and then maybe in later wave we can stress test a little bit. Maybe try to stand still and attack like this one. Because technically there's the limitation for me to fast clear this Simulacrum is just actually the spawn rate of monster. Because if we are not nearby, the monster in Simulacrum cannot actually spawn, right? Because potentially, if you know the Simulacrum monster are just going to spawn potentially, right? Let's just say if I stand here. Okay, look, this one goes here. If it's just go, okay, this one decided to go here. As you can see, the reach of the skill is insane. You literally, if you want to stand in one place, maybe later I will run a blighted map or something, but if you will stand here in one place and you attack, if monsters are just spawning everywhere, you can just kill them like on spawn, basically. But normally, you know, if you don't want to press a lot of buttons, if you don't want to even hold down a button, then Rage Vortex will just take care of triggering stuff, right? Most of the time. You can just move around, you can use the movement skill if you want to. And I just realized, right? I just realized. So before, my theory is when for single target, I would just take out one of the 2 skills. I would not be using Volcanic Fissure Snaking, or I will not be using Rage Protective Berserking. And then I will all in into one skill and have the multi-strike into it, so you have like more attack speed overall. And I think that is going to be the best initially. But apparently, the best bet is just to keep both. Because you can just turn on Rage Protective Berserking, and then you can continue to attack with the Beneficiary of Snaking. Right, as you can see, the damage seems to fall off a little bit on wave 12 over here. But I think we can handle it. It's not like it's undoable. Okay, I missed the Cosis. And yeah. Just like that, Cosis is down relatively quickly. I'm kind of cheating a little bit, but I will I will show you what I mean by I kind of cheat a little bit when we comes to the character setup. Because there's something historically happened, and for some reason it keeps happening again and again and again. And I think, well, I'm just one of the lucky people who keep benefiting from that particular thing to happen, basically. I don't want to talk about it right now because probably I will be sectioning the video to the part where I run the Simulacrum and then the part where I talk about the setup. And so I want all the information to be in the part where I actually talk about the setup. So if someone comes and just simply looking for that, they can just skip to that part and they will not be missed out on any random information that I turn. Basically, I just leave in here. Right, let's just turn on Righteous of Fire. It looks a little bit sketchy, I'm not gonna lie. But you can just dodge around and kill closest, right? Normally I can sustain Righteous Fire, no problem. In Simulacrum, it is actually very comfortable to sustain Righteous Fire. Because in Simulacrum, we don't have like minus max, we don't have no regen, we don't have like less HP and mana recovery rate, things like that. So everything that can screw up your ability to sustain RF doesn't actually exist in the Simulacrum. By the way, if I really want to, run this Simulacrum way better, I should change out one of my Ascendancy. Maybe after this wave I will change and I will show you basically how much difference does it make. Because when it comes to Simulacrum, I think the Juggernaut over here has like one of the best tools in the game. Like hands down. Okay, we are here. Let me just learn some regret point. And I'll show you the tool that I am talking about. I think by just taking this one, any Juggernaut is like way tankier when it comes to like Simulacrum survival, basically. And that thing is, if I just take out this, no, this one, Untiring, right? So I'm a little bit more vulnerable to one shot now, actually, because I am removing 8% reduced damage taken for physical and for elemental. So one shot, potentially I am more vulnerable to it, but Untiring would just give me a pretty insane amount of regen if I just take a bunch of damage, basically. Okay, let me just deal with Omniphobia over here. Let me just stand still for a little bit. You will see my life actually... Oh. Okay. Apparently I cannot stand still. But, I think... Well, my point is, Untiring is very good for extra recovery in Simulacrum, because most of the monster in Simulacrum deals physical damage. Alright. Come on, you don't have to do me like that. We can be friends. Why does it have to be like that? Okay, cool, sis. Chill. To be honest, I'm not even sure what I'm dodging here. I just try to move around, basically, which is like one of the strongest layer of defense that you can have on any character in POE. If you just move around, chances are you are avoiding damage. Alright. Wave 14. I kind of screwed myself over there, didn't I? I kind of screwed myself over there. But, hey, as I mentioned, it is stress testing. So I intentionally just stand there and try to take a bunch of damage to see the recovery. Overall, by the way, for mapping, for bossing, for everything else, I would probably recommend to still keep the... I think it's Unrelenting, but the endurance charge node, so you have like a little bit more max hit, because it is pure physical mitigation and pure elemental damage mitigation. So that is actually helpful in like most cases. But for content, like, it actually dropped me 2 voices. Jesus. For content like Simulacrum, normally Untiring is going to be better. Let me just remove it, get this one again, and you will see my life is, even though I will still be moving around, you will see my life like probably dropping much more as I get hit, because I do not have the extra, couple hundred of regen there. As you can see, I don't have like 1,000 regen like what I have with Untiring. For, you know, characters like the Castle Stun character, because you have like more recovery rate of health. There you go. You see my health move down. So it's a little bit sketchy. This is not a tanky character again. Now, let me just deal with this Omniphobia first, and then we can go ahead and do Colossus. Single target is okay, right? As you can see there, it's just pure single target, no explosion, no anything. Alright, so that is 15 wave, and we've done it in a little bit less than 15 minutes. Because we can minus the time where I'm just messing around between waves and talk about random shit. But anyway, let's just get to the actual setup. So right now, I am using Detonate Death Chain Reaction. And Detonate Death Chain Reaction compared to Volatile Death, we need to switch out one of the support gem. Before, I forgot to notice that is the difference when I was testing before. So I thought Detonate Death Chain Reaction was not as good as Volatile Death, even for single target. But apparently, Detonate Death Chain Reaction doesn't work with Spell Cascade. I know that, like, I always have known that, but I just forgot to look at the support gem because there's just many, you know, random symbols showing support gems in here. And so I just basically forgot that it exists. So for the Detonate Death Chain Reaction, we simply remove the Awakened Spell Cascade, which is the best in slot for Volatile Death. And we put in this case, I think Awaken Increased Area of Effect is going to be the best bet because it allows you to basically guarantee overlap on every single explosion of Detonate Death. If you go for Concentrated Effect, every single hit will be more damage, much more damage in fact. However, because the corpses that you summon with Desecrate can be a little bit spread out sometimes on single target, and so, you know, overall for even like more AoE clear speed, overall, I always just keep the Awaken Increased Area of Effect in here instead. You can try out Concentrated Effect for yourself. It's not bad for map clearing by any means because your AoE initially is already massive, right? But yeah, my choice is Awaken Increased Area of Effect. It is relatively expensive actually. It is, I think this one is like 7 divine. So for level 1 it's like a 4 divine. Level 5 doesn't really give you any like special bonus like the Awaken and also Focus here to give you 1 level support gem, so you can just buy a level 1 and gradually level it. I just buy a level 5, quality it up, and try to corrupt. Well, no luck, no level 6, so it is what it is, right? So that is the skill that I'm using. Pretty much same gear compared to the previous video. Not pretty much, but actually just exactly same gear compared to, you know, the previous video. The final setup for me, I have been using this for everything. You know what, let me just get out and see if I have like any boss fragment or something. And I'll just show you. I think I probably have Searing Exarch because I have always been running red altars like for forever. Fragments. Alright. Okay, I do have a Searing Exarch. Let's just quickly do a Searing Exarch. Before I'd often just remove one of these 2 skills. So I'd use one only and I put multi-strike into it so you have like a lot more attack speed. But I think overall, just for a good balance point, probably using 2 skills here is actually good. What you like to do is just to attack first with Volcanic Fissure, because you want to preload a bunch of Volcanic Fissures hit, right? Okay, Volcanic Fissure is making the balls harder to see. Yeah, I can take a little bit. Oh, yeah, I forgot to turn on Righteous Fire, so the damage is a little bit, you know, lacking there. But, you know, overall, I think just use both of them at the same time probably is the best bet. because the Rage Vortex Berserking technically is the button that you press once and it will last for like 10, 20 seconds, 30 seconds. Sometimes it depends on your rage. But if you always fighting a boss and you always, getting your rage back, and because you have the, Admiral's Arrogance here, it will just have chance to shoot the rage back up to full, like immediately. 20% chance is pretty high actually. So yeah, that is just an example of like a single target when using both of the skills. And basically, it just removed the little bit of a clunkiness when it comes to playing with the character, so you don't have to gem swap from once every whatever time when you do the boss. The setup that I'm going for here, I did change a little bit. So there was a blunder from my side. In previous setup, I forgot the fact that because I am a Juggernaut and I take Unstoppable to deal with stunned, basically, I forgot the fact that action speed cannot be modified to lower base value and movement speed cannot be modified to below base value. Actually just means you are also immune to freeze. And so I ran the Arctic armor for immune to freeze, which cost me 1, 2, 3, and 4 points for the 20% increase my life reservation efficiency, right? So I have been running Arctic armor thinking that I need that to be immune to freeze. Well, apparently I don't need to. So I just remove Arctic armor, allow me to have 4 more points. And with that 4 points, I also remove 1, 2, 3, and 4 small life points. They are all 6% life point, which is actually pretty good. But I remove 4 more points and 4 from here, so I have 8 points. 8 points means we have the ability to get a cluster jewel setup. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 points, right? The cluster jewel allow to have 2 more normal jewels. I am putting in the Hinekora's Death Fury again. Hinekora Death Fury is 2 divine for the red one, roughly, and 2 divine for the blue one. So they are cheap again. And well, if the Hinekora's Death Fury jewels is cheap, there is no reason not to use them if you're not a chieftain and you are still a marauder. I think it is like hands down one of the best ascendancy in the game just to slap into anything. And yeah, luckily as a Juggernaut, I have access to it. So it just feels like way more satisfying. And sometimes it does improve the clear speed as well, because it is a massive explosion with a massive amount of damage. So it can help you deal with single target sometimes in map, in Simulacrum, whatever that kind of content. It is completely useless in bossing, by the way. But before I did use Unbreakable, but then I realized in this setup, my body armor is, even if I quality this one, is at best like 1.4k armor. So it's not that much. I do not scale a lot of armor in this build as well. Most of my physical mitigation, as you can see here, I have only 6.6k armor. But most of my physical mitigation actually is just pure physical mitigation, which is way better anyway, because I scale a lot of endurance charges. So yeah, I just decided to drop the node, the Unbreakable node, and just get Unstoppable. Before I got Unstoppable from the Forbidden Jewel because it's very cheap, but right now I think this is probably the most optimal setup. So it allowed me to have 2 rare jewels, and rare jewels are actually pretty strong. You can get like a bunch of crit multi. Here I just have like 2 prop crit multi. The chaos resistant is nice. It does help me to get a little bit more chaos resistant. Normally I will be capped chaos rest if I have the flask up, but yeah, most of the time when mapping is not a problem. And in bossing you kind of dodge, and there's not a lot of chaos damage in bossing anyway, so overall it's not like a must-have or anything. Probably just get a little bit more life here is going to be better. Mana reservation efficiency, completely useless. I think the best one to get here is probably going to be like 2% maximum rest, maximum fire rest, because maximum fire rest allow me to sustain righteous fire better, basically. Right here I can sustain righteous fire, easily. But in maps, there's a lot of things that can happen. There's altars, there's a lot, basically there's just a lot of things that can happen. So in maps, because I do feel like I have way more than enough damage, so I often just do not turn on Righteous Fire at all. Well, what should I do here? Is there anything else that I need to, that I have changed? So this is still the same. Yeah, it's still the same. So basically, just the cluster jewel is probably the biggest change that I've done in this build. The gem that I got in the slot of Arctic armor is moderation. However, right, I do believe that this is not necessary. You probably should still keep the Vaal Arctic armor in here. And don't use Vaal Righteous Fire. The Vaal Arctic armor is very good in a specific situation. For example, it does help you to tank the slam from almost any bosses in the game, because it is a flat 90% damage reduction. So, for example, the memory game, if you just pressed it, chances are with the extra layers of tankiness you have anyway, you will be able to tank that hit, because 90% less damage taken, on top of all the less damage taken you have from the charges and, you know, other sources. Let me bring up Vaal Arctic armor. Right, so even from level 1, it will be less, 90% less damage taken. You will be counted as frozen. This is not even mitigatable by being a Juggernaut or being immune to freeze. You will still be standing there. But in the memory game, for example, you have to wait for it to happen anyway. Just press the button, you will take one single big hit, which is going to be 90% less, and then it is going to be further mitigated by everything else that you have in the game, for example, endurance charges, right? So yeah, that is everything I want to share with you in this video today. Let me know what you think about this build. Let me know if you try this build out yourself. I think it is a pretty cool one. I always like trigger skill, I always like explosion, and here we just basically have pretty much what it feels like is like playing a Blade Vortex in the golden era of Blade Vortex and Explosion, basically, I think. Because in map, you pretty much enter a map, slam once to get initial rage, and turn on the Rage Vortex of Berserking, and you pretty much just zoom through the map. In some cases, you don't even have to turn on Rage Vortex the second time. For example, when you run a Strand, chances are you will complete the map before you even run out of the first Blade Vortex. But you know, you stop for picking up things, you stop for a couple of other, you know, reasons. I don't know, league mechanic, whatever league mechanic you're running, you stop for it. Then, you know, you may have to turn on Rage Vortex, Berserking once or twice more times every single map. Overall, though, it is just a super comfy mapper, right? And for this particular thing, if you turn on Rage Vortex, by the way, you can pretty much AFK in a lot of things, like rituals, like Harbinger, like Ultimatum in some cases as well, because you have enough damage to just instantly kill anything that spawns. And you are decently tanky to almost everything, unless you take like an altar that is screwing up your recovery or screwing up your maximum resistances on the map mod, or, you know, just flat out reduce your resistances by so much you're not having enough resistances to cap. All right, so yeah, again, that is everything, and please leave a like if you like this video, and consider to subscribe to the channel. I do have, you know, Nexus store link down in the description, so if you consider to purchase anything that is related to POE right now, that is everything that I have in the store. So you can go ahead and use that link. It is not going to cost you anything extra whatsoever, but it's just going to help me out a little bit, and I really would appreciate it. Thanks for watching again, and see you in the next video. Peace.